Yeah, well, so that was, I think one of the things that came up last week, right, was this idea of like, why do we spell out the base, right? Isn't that a question that kind of came up in our last session?
Well, I was saying to spell it out. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, so we always say to spell it out, and I think the example, you guys can see my screen here.
Yes.
So we had that example of real and reality. And just like this week, I had students trying to pronounce bases. And so I'm constantly telling them, spell it out, spell it out. And I know that that doesn't quite make sense why just yet, but it will. And so, because we might not think of these words as being related if we are trying to pronounce that base, right? Because it doesn't really, these words don't sound the same, do they? No, right? And so as I was going back through this article that I'm using for my research, it presented these words here. So I just wanted to show them to you on the screen. Would somebody be able to read these words?
Nation.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. In French, I'm trying to. National and nationality.
Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So what do you notice about those words?
They have all the same base, but
Okay.
they are, and also they are in same like familiar thing.
Okay.
Just like they different, the difference it's just where you have to use these words, where we can use them.
That's right. Like as a part of speech, do you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so when you hear these words, right, nation, national, nationality, right? And so you said, well, they all have the same base, right? What do you think that base is, Kaziri?
Nation.
Okay.
Because they all have that in there.
Yes.
But what was Megan telling us we have to do?
It's when you add the, say, can you repeat your question, please?
So you said, what's the base? And what did you say?
Nation.
Yeah, and we're talking, and what does she say we want you to do?
Yeah.
spell it out.
Yeah.
So if I ask what is that base, right, what would you say? How would you spell that out?
It's N-A-T-I-O-N.
Good. Yeah, right. And so how about in the word national?
It's the same base, but we have to add an A and L.
Okay. Good. And how about in the next word here?
It's the same base, nation, plus A-L.
All right, so N-A-T-I-O-N.
Plus A-L.
Mm-hmm.
Plus I-T-I. Y, sorry.
Okay, good. And so we may have a similar base here, but what do all these words mean, right? So we want to think about that first, right? We're already kind of looking at the structure and how it's built, and perhaps they have the same base, but we didn't really talk about what does nation mean.
Nation is like a group of
And it's always hard to say. Can you use it in a sentence? Sometimes it's easier to put it in a sentence. Anybody?
And you said like we have the same nation. It's like.
Do we have the same nationality?
No, actually. Yeah, the question is like,
right,
we have the same nationality, but we are not.
That's right. We live, we're all in the same nation right now, right?
Yes. Yeah, the same nation, but not the same nationality.
Good.
Yeah, and so all of these words, right, seem like they're related in meaning. Nation, national, right? So national, something that maybe describes, right, a nation, right? And they have a similar base, right? They have the same base. But what do you notice about the pronunciation?
Letter A pronounces in each words different.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, and so what I tried to do here, and Kathy, I don't even know if I have these right. You tell me. I couldn't find like a good.
So Megan, what you have to do, and you all can do this if you want to do it, because then you can see it. Do you all have apples? When you on your iMac Mactionary, you can get it put on there. I'll help you do it. Not today, just because I don't want to take up that time. But where when you look up the word in your dictionary, it'll put the IPA there. Because I don't know it offhand. I can check.
Yeah. So I got. Go ahead. Taziri, was that you?
No.
No. So I copied these out of the article, right? And I did try to check them against my chart that I have. But you see that this, right, the sound that A is representing changes, right, from nation to national. And so this was the IPA that we were talking about last week, right, that tells us how each of these is pronounced. So our writing system, right, our orthography is not phonetic, right? We're not writing it the way that we pronounce it. And so a lot of people might say, well, this is confusing, right? This is confusing, but it's not, right? Because the system is showing us through this spelling, right, that all of these words are connected, right? Even though we pronounce them differently, they're connected by what?
The same base, the base.
That's right. The same spelling.
Yeah, spelling.
Base.
Yeah.
Which,
Yeah.
if you go into Edam, they have the same root,
Yes.
you know?
And so if we skip down here, I'm just going to put this back here so we can see, what do you notice about the next two words here?
Natural, nature, natural. Here. Nature, it's like on general. Natural, it's something specific.
Okay.
That is, they have the same root. Natural. Yeah. And the base also, it's just like in the end of word, like nature, we have E at last, and natural, it's the A, because we have, when it's like two vowel, we can like mix two vowel together to get natural.
What was it that we can mix together?
We can't like put the E and in the end and add an A, like mix them together. We have to like delete the E and replace it with the A.
Good.
Yeah.
Natural.
So what do you think the base is of natural?
It's nature.
Spell it out.
N-A-T-U-R-E.
Good.
And for the natural, we have just to add plus A-L. But when you mix them together, you have to like delete the E of nature, because you can't like put the two vowel together.
Yeah, so we say replace that E, right? Because the E is always there. Yeah. And what do you notice about the suffix here? What letter does that suffix start with?
A.
A. And A is a what?
Vowel.
One.
Oh, yeah, right. So that vowel suffix, we replace that E, and that gets rewritten as natural, right? So again, two words that have the same base, a similar meaning, but you see this change in pronunciation. And so that's what we mean when we say vowel alternation. So when we add suffixes onto these words, right, the pronunciation shifts.
Yeah, and the spell also.
Right, but if we were going to spell it the way it sounds, we would have to spell all of these words differently, right?
Yes.
And imagine how complicated that would be, right? For nation, national, and nationality to all be spelled differently, right? So it shows us that connection there. Kathy, what do you